When we originally started doing the variety show, we originally made like a plan of how we were going to go about like rehearsing everything, but also creating all the materials. So we started off with with phases. So the first phase we had was phase one, and in this phase I was playing Matilda. So we had like a 3 week plan of each lesson, and we split into like singing, dancing, acting, like what we were going to achieve in each lesson. So at the beginning for Revolting Children, we started off with a choreography, and then we moved on to the scenes before and after, and then altogether, and then we had quite a few lessons working on the singing. Then we had more lessons where we would just rehearsed it and went over all of it together. And then in phase two, when my part was Annie, this phase, because lots of what everyone else's was in like a group for their phase two, but my one was a solo, so I had to spend quite a lot of time working on my own for that. So I planned that out of different sections of the song, and what lesson I was going to work on, characterization, how I sound, volume, pitch, everything like that. I spread over about 3 or 4 lessons. Throughout the show, I think I contributed quite a lot with choreography, especially in Matilda, as I'd done quite a lot of research into the song Naughty, and I looked at different times it's been performed. So like at the Olivier Awards, where there was 4 Matildas, at West End Live, and then from the actual show as well. So I sort of put all my knowledge together into looking into choreography, and I came up with quite a lot of phrases to teach everyone and put in, and also the staging of it. This is quite similar with Revolting Children as well, as I'd watched lots of videos of it and covers from different theatre companies, and I got like an idea of the style of movement we could use, and I came up with different choreographic phrases to show and teach everyone. Also in Luck Be a Lady, I thought that because that was Dom's solo, but it was just an empty stage, so I thought it'd be quite a good idea if there was dance and like a bit of dancing. So me and Charlotte worked together to create a dance for us two behind him, and also what everyone else gathered in at the end to do that as well. And then also in Deadwood Stage, I think I contributed with the staging, because we had a few ideas, but I thought that we needed more than like one level for the wagon, so I thought it'd be a good idea to put 2 levels in, and then also maybe we'd have some like decorations, and also with the costumes. I helped, me and Charlotte and Lily came up with the colour schemes and what everyone can wear and ideas. Um, I think I work quite well in a team, especially me and Charlotte in Luck Be a Lady. We spent quite a lot of time creating a dance for that, and also with Dom as well, incorporating him in it in bits, and also with Scott and Revolting Children. We worked together a lot, like placing people and making sure that the stage looked busy and coming up with ideas for like childish behaviours and scenes, and how we could incorporate all of these things. Um, I think the leadership roles I took was, well, definitely in Tomorrow, but that was more like a leadership of myself, because I had to do it myself and take myself away and come up with it on my own. But I feel as if I could have maybe not rehearsed more, been more confident with it, because I felt quite like wary of what I was doing, because I was so worried about getting it wrong that I don't think I did it to the best of my potential, as I didn't want to slip up or go out of tune at all, so I wasn't as daring as I should have been. And also, I did take quite a big leadership role in Matilda, especially in the choreography, as I taught it to everyone and came up with the majority of it. And I do feel as if I could have maybe taught some people a little bit better, because there were some people that really struggled with it, and I went over it a couple of times, but I could have maybe made it a bit simpler so it could suit everyone more. Um, for like the singing and vocal accuracy, I think I personally struggled, and I know quite a lot of us struggled with the singing and the dancing, especially in Revolting Children, because it was very fast and upbeat, and the words were almost like shouty, but the dance was very like high energy and jumps and turns, and like kicks and stuff. So it's quite hard. So I had to like really spend some time working on like my breathing, knowing when to take a breath. And I think that has kind of helped me improve my stamina for like dancing and singing in general within musical theatre. And we also did some dance exercises, which I think really helped with that. In Naughty, I think my singing and vocal accuracy, I think this was my strongest song because my voice when I sing is quite childlike. So I was quite confident with the song and I knew the song, so I could really like go for it and keep the volume up. And I think I helped quite a lot of people keep in time. And then when there was a smaller group with less confident singers in, I really think that I put in a lot of volume and like characterization in my voice so that other people caught on to it and it seemed more believable that we were all children. In Tomorrow, I think I did struggle quite a bit with the accent because I feel as if I kept going in and out from English to American, and that kind of restricted me a bit, I think, with the singing, and I know my voice got really shaky on some of the notes because I just was like just unconfident, and I was a bit nervous. So instead of having like prolonged sounds, they were very shaky, or I'd cut them short. So it was, I don't think that was the best of my ability. Um, in Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat, like as a class in general, we really struggled with the key of it, and I think we had learnt it from a track which wasn't really right, and when we were trying to find the backing track, it just wasn't suiting, and because the boys especially had different voices, like quite a lot of them were high and then there was some low, that each backing track was quite hard for us all to fit in, and it between one person doing the solo and singing high, we'd go into the chorus singing also high but then low, and then it would always go off key. So I think that we really could have worked, but we did spend a lot of time on that, but it still needed a bit more work, and we probably should have chosen a bit of spent more time finding a better backing. I think throughout I have developed my voice because I've learnt to be a lot more louder and confident when I'm like needed in an ensemble piece. So I know where my strengths lie with regards to like singing, and when my voice is useful in the group. So I think I've really helped that, and I've also think I've made my voice more accurate because some of the words when I sing I pronounce them in a funny way. So I've had to spend time just making sure that I sing it correctly, especially when I'm in an ensemble and we're all singing together, because it sounds strange if I'm singing it one word in a different way to everyone else. So I think I've also improved on that. Overall, I think that the choreography went really well in the show, and that I think we spent a lot of time on that, and I'm quite proud of what we managed to achieve with that. And like we really like took things from the show and kind of not replicated it, but came up with a very similar style. And we recognised, like from Guys and Dolls, we did lots of jazz, and that sort of movement used lots of technique for jazz techniques in that. And that, but whereas like in Matilda, we used very like physical theatre type movement, and I think that looked really successful. I also think that our characterization throughout was, well, I think it was quite good. But the thing is, with my two characters, they were both children, my main characters, so I had to find a way to differentiate my Matilda from Annie. So I think I did Matilda as quite boisterous and like clever, but at the same time like nervous. So I had to like show the anger, but I had to at the same time try and portray to the audience that I was feeling nervous. Whereas Annie, I found it a bit difficult really to kind of differentiate that because they're quite similar characters in some ways. So I was more of like a bit more scared in Annie and like wary of my surroundings and of people than I was in Matilda. And I also think that the singing went well in general, especially the ensemble and like Windy City when we all sung together at the end, and Revolting Children, and Deadwood Stage. I think that went well because I spent a lot of time on the accent for Deadwood Stage, so I felt I was really allowed to put a lot of characterization into that as well. And yeah, to like improve, I think I needed to work a bit more on my like leadership skills for like teaching people the dance routines, because I find it quite hard to like put into words or to demonstrate what I'm trying to do, because it's just like it's quite natural when I create the choreography, and I sometimes forget that when you're learning choreography it's completely different. So I think I could spend more time on that, and I also definitely need to work more on my line learning for the epilogue, because at the show my mind sort of went completely blank and I just couldn't remember it, so I had to make it up. Well, I remembered the basis of it, but I think I could have spent a lot more time on that. But at the time, it didn't seem like a really pressing thing, and I was focusing a lot more on the actual like musical theatre, like singing, dancing, and I think that would have really made the show a lot better at the end. And I also think I need to work on my pace during my monologues, because sometimes I just go so fast that it kind of lost what I was saying. So I think next time I'd need to like control my voice a lot more to make it slower and more paced. And then finally, I think in Annie, I think I needed to also interact a bit more with the audience, because the song is very like character based and you have to use lots of characterization and emotion, and I feel as if I sort of restricted myself from doing that, and I felt quite distanced from the audience, especially at the beginning, because I wasn't really facing them, and I just feel as if I really could have interacted more and made eye contact. But in general, I do think the show went really well.